There was something special happening, and you could feel it.
We had nudity and foul language and violence.
It gets to you.
A real-life roll call as we take you behind the scenes for the stories you never knew about the stars of NYPD Blue.
You never do know what the next day scene work will bring.
The first thing that I would do when I got my script was to quickly flip through it and make sure that my clothes were on.
David Caruso, the in-depth interview about why he really quit the show.
I mean, it's hard to admit that you dropped the ball on some pretty special people.
His regrets today.
I just failed.
And the price he's had to pay with his former cop show co-stars.
He was so hard on himself that, you know, he took it out on other people.
He was a star, and he was very difficult.
Plus, from Jimmy Smits to Gail O'Grady, find out why they decided to leave the force.
You don't have a life. That is your life.
Which actress claims she was fired, and the exclusive interview with Andrea Thompson about why she's turning in her badge.
NYPD Blue is a very demanding show.
The cast talks about pushing the envelope, the violence, the foul language, the nude scenes.
When I had to bear my butt, it wasn't particularly titillating.
And the controversy the stars stripping has caused.
People thought it was going to be Armageddon, you know, thought the devil was coming.
From the real New York crimes behind Blue to the casting surprises,
Jimmy had always been my first choice for that role anyway.
we uncover the secrets of NYPD Blue.
It's very raw.
This is Entertainment Tonight, the most watched entertainment news program in the world.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the weekend edition of Entertainment Tonight as we hit the streets with the stars from one of Primetime's top cop shows. I'm Julie Moran.
And I'm Mark Steinis. Since 1993, NYPD Blue has portrayed the stark and sometimes painful lives of New York's finest. And from the very beginning of the series, there was turmoil behind the scenes as well.
There's gonna be a naked butt on that pilot. You know, people were just like, they're ready to go after it.
It was basically about, you know, the use of strong language, and, you know, we were stretching the boundaries of nudity. And I guess people thought it was going to be Armageddon, you know, thought the devil was coming, and they ran away screaming.
Before it even hit the airwaves, NYPD Blue was surrounded with controversy.
It was intense. It was really intense. We felt so much pressure. They were scared to death.
Co-creators Stephen Bochco and David Milch had previously worked together on Hill Street Blues and wanted to do an adult crime drama. But the ABC censors had lots of problems with the pilot script.
Because of our negotiations with ABC Broadcast Standards, which were very contentious, the show actually got postponed. They didn't want to give us the, you know, the latitude that we were demanding. And we didn't want to make the compromise.
After a year, the differences were ironed out, and the first actor cast was Dennis Franz. He had worked on Hill Street Blues, but was leery about donning a badge again.
I had played 27 cops up to that time, and I thought, you know, I'd really like to go in a different direction. Stephen and David called and said, we have this new project that is going to be like a gritty Hill Street Blues. And I said, if I'm going to play cop number 28, I can't think of any other situation I'd rather do it than with you.
As Franz's younger partner, Bochco was looking towards Jimmy Smits, who had worked for him on LA Law.
Jimmy had always been my first choice for that role anyway, and it turned me down.
Smits wanted to work in feature films, so Bochco then offered David Caruso the part.
It was a call out of the blue, and it was one of my girlfriends said, Stephen Bochco, and I went, come on. I thought it was a friend of mine doing a gag, you know, because he's calling me at home. I'd never had somebody of his stature call me at home before, you know, so I really thought it was a gag, and it turned out to be him, and we ended up meeting, and he said, do you want to do the show?
But Bochco's partner, Milch, had heard that Caruso had a reputation of being difficult.
David Milch said to me, we're going to have trouble. Don't hire this guy, because he and I are going to really bang heads. I know it. It's not going to be pleasant.
Get your hands off of me.
Get your hands off of me!
As for Franz, he feared his character would be hated by viewers.
I was a little concerned about the character that I was going to play, Sipowicz. I thought, how can anybody care what happens to this man? When we were first introduced to him, he was at a real low point in his life. He was He was a real loose cannon and a womanizer and a drunkard and a racist and, you know, all the things that go up to make a real loving person. And I said, how is anybody going to care?
Sylvia Costas cared. Sharon Lawrence played the assistant DA who fell for Sipowicz.
I got the gig, and I thought it was only going to be a day player. They liked the chemistry that Dennis, Franz, and I personally had, that they could see sort of between takes, between shots.
Before being cast as young detective James Martinez, Nicholas Turturro had been a doorman at New York's posh St. Moritz Hotel and got pretty friendly with the guests.
I got to know Billy Joel pretty well, and he was a guy I really dug, and then all of a sudden he moved in, and he was writing an album there, and then I used to see him every day. We'd hug and kiss, hey, Billy, Nicky, what are you doing, you know? So it was just like, it was wild.
Later in the first season, Gordon Clapp came aboard as the stuttering detective Medavoy. He was thrilled when he got to have an on-screen affair with the show's blonde bombshell.
When Gail O'Grady came on the show, they had this great idea to put us together. You know, the most unlikely guy in the squad ends up with the dish.
O'Grady says she went all out to nail down her role.
I went in with a bouffant hairdo, big earrings, Angora, you know, tight sweater and the whole thing. I went in as Donna because I thought that nobody else would go in like that.
In the second season, Jimmy Smits finally agreed to join the show as Detective Bobby Simone. Kim Delaney was also added to the series at the end of that season and remembers being intimidated by all the talent that surrounded her.
I was in awe. I was like, mouth open, because I come on a show like this, you know, you've got Emmy award-winning directors, actors, producers, you know, all the way across, and writers, and it's intimidating.
Despite many ABC stations refusing to air the show in its first season, the stars knew they were doing groundbreaking television.
There was a real feeling at that time, a real discovery was taking place. I don't know, I'd never been in a situation like that before, because there was something special happening and you could feel it.
NYPD Blue has defied the initial predictions and remained on the air for 7 years. The fact made even more amazing with all the cast members who have quit the show.
Caruso, Smits.
The hour dramatic format is really...
The stars reveal why they left and whether they have any regrets. The real New York police stories behind the series and the real cop who taught the stars about the crimes.
I took him to suicide scenes, homicide scenes.
Went to the morgue, did some undercover drug buys.
How Dennis Franz lost 35 pounds. We have his diet secret.
It really does work.
The women of NYPD Blue, which former star got a 7-figure Hollywood deal, and one actress who sought a restraining order against her ex-boyfriend.
That's coming up on Entertainment Tonight, The Secrets of NYPD Blue.
What is a Pier 1 candle? A reflection of your own style. A fragrance you love. A glow in the dark. Candles. You can find them all at Pier 1. Choose your own style. Choose Pier 1.
I see the crystal raindrops fall, and the beauty of it all is when the sun comes shining through to make those rainbows in my mind when I think of you sometime, and I want to spend some time with you, just the two of us. We can make it if we try.
Excuse. Romance, 99 cents. Hallmark, cards work.
We just found a fresh new way to get our teeth whiter.
It's different. It does more than whiten.
It gives your whole mouth this cool, clean feeling that lasts.
Like you just brushed.
New Aquafresh Whitening Advanced Freshness. An advanced freshness system kills germs, even in places your brush can't reach.
Your teeth are whiter.
Your whole mouth stays fresh.
New Aquafresh Whitening Advanced Freshness.
It's not just a toothpaste.
It's the whole mouth paste for whiter teeth and lasting freshness.
Take good care of my baby. Wherever there's
dry skin, more people in America use Vaseline Intensive Care to heal it. Take good care with Vaseline Intensive Care Lotion.
There's a gap between knowing what to do and doing it. And I need something to help fill that gap.
Ask your doctor about Meridia or call 1-888-4-MERIDIA.
I'm ready.
Welcome back to Entertainment Tonight as we uncover the secrets of NYPD Blue. Did you know that in 1995, Providence star Melina Kanakaridis made her primetime TV debut on the series? She played Jimmy Smith's love interest for one season.
The main reason the grittiness of NYPD Blue seems so real is because it is. The rough and tumble storylines from the series are taken right off the streets of New York.
Most of them are based on real stories, and we're just play acting, and then you stop and think and you go, this actually happened to somebody. Yeah, it kind of hits you in the stomach once in a while, you know, hits you in the gut.
Assaulting TV audiences with a harsh reality previously unseen in prime time, the series plot lines are often based on actual cases from the files of the NYPD. And shooting on the mean streets of the Big Apple, the cast has always relied on the real men in blue to show them the ropes.
These guys have really, they helped me so much in terms of preparing and being all right going to crime scenes and, you know, just sharing their experiences. I learned an awful lot from them and have a tremendous amount of respect, and they respect what we've done.
See, now, I don't know if I just saved this kid from a beating or bought him another one.
The police department here has completely embraced us, and we're happy that they have given the stamp of approval to our work.
But that stamp of approval doesn't come easy. From the very first season, Stephen Bochco demanded that every episode be meticulously researched, and he hired retired New York detective Bill Clark as a technical advisor.
The first couple of seasons, most of the cases were ones that I had worked or was very familiar with. I don't like to really lock it into a specific, because there's people sitting in jails now because of most of our stories.
There was one where we had to found a dead body, a female dead body in a car that had been burnt, and she'd been shot, and then the car was burnt, and we had to let the parents know, and it was Thanksgiving. And that was a true story, where Bill said it was just like a horror. And so when Bill tells us those types of stories while we're setting the shots up, it's heartbreaking.
On this side. Like that. Hit him on that side so it looks like you.
Clark went on to become a co-executive producer on the show, and to this day, he brings real New York cops to the set to meet with the writers.
I've always was concerned that it showed how cops care about what they do and how it impacts on their own personal lives.
Don't call yourself a Vietnam vet.
And every week when I watched the show, I was really proud that I had my part in getting that message across.
When Rick Schroeder joined the series in 1998, he went through NYPD Blue's version of basic training and spent a week with Clark in New York.
I took him to suicide scenes, homicide scenes.
Went to the morgue, did some undercover drug buys with the police department.
Got him a sense of what experiences cops have to deal with, and some of them really took, you know, you could see he took them to heart. I'd seen a grieving family whose son just killed himself. It's kind of tough, you know.
Any ideas how to prevent this being a 4-hour fist fight?
I think we can avoid that.
That devotion to reality has turned real cops into the show's most loyal fans.
When anyone real comes up to you and says, hey, you know, I like what you're doing. Someone that's the real thing, that means a lot to me. It always did.
Every police officer that I meet tells a story of somebody in their department that reminds them of Andy Sipowicz.
They're very proud of how we portray New York City cops and detectives, and a bunch of the female detectives I've talked to are really happy with what my character's done.
I have such a warm feeling for them and a debt of gratitude for all the support that they've given me and, you know, the whole production company.
Next on Entertainment Tonight, the secrets of NYPD Blue.
why the women keep quitting the series.
The days are very long, 14, 16-hour days.
They wanted to go and do other things.
The stars reveal the pain on the set of the TV precinct and why Amy Brenneman says she was fired. The blue nude scenes, the controversy, the critics. The cast speaks out about taking it off on TV and the foul language that pushes the limits. David Caruso versus the cast. The battles behind the scenes on Blue and the real story of the redhead's destructive time on the show.
That was the hardest year I think we'd ever had, ever.
That's coming up on Entertainment Tonight's The Secrets of NYPD Blue.
Today on IHOP Reveal, what the 4 IHOP syrups really think.
Blueberry's pretty much the best syrup. Good on everything.
I've been on your table for, what, since you've been born?
I noticed a lot of girls go for the butter pecan.
Whichever syrup you believe, try it on IHOP Cinnamon Swirl French Toast. A cinnamon roll dipped in French toast batter and grilled golden brown with eggs, bacon, or sausage and hash browns from $3.99. Next time, Strawberry reveals why any time's a good time for IHOP.
The nation's capital is a unique place for local news. To some, local is Virginia, Maryland, or D.C. To some, local news is the issues people here care about. Or it means having your eyes on the world, but your roots right here. At 9 Eyewitness News, we think local news is all of that. That's why we're committed to bringing you the most coverage from where you live. 9 Eyewitness News, where local news comes first.
You've never seen power like this before. The Dirt Devil Vision. It's loaded with power you can see. The Vision is lightweight with swivel casters so it turns on a dime. It easily picks up dirt other vacuums can leave behind. And instead of bags, the Vision vacuums dirt into an easy-to-empty container. The Dirt Devil Vision. Nothing escapes the power of a Dirt Devil.
Let's get her. Excuse me, miss. Hi, hey, gang. You wear contacts?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the lowest price in sight?
I paid something.
Too much? Why do you come with me and bring these kids? See, at America's Best, you get a complete doctor's eye exam and 2 6-packs of SoftMed disposable contacts, all for just $59.99. Hey, this is America's Best.
Absolutely.
Where you get one doggone good deal.
Hey.
Call 1-800-2-PAIR to discover the lowest price in sight. Now open in Forestville at a Penmar shopping center.
Monday on Entertainment Tonight, the Kathy Lee interview, what she said about her son Cody suing a tabloid for libel.
I think about it and I get emotional to this day.
The original Shaft reveals his battle with cancer.
Breast cancer.
Now, Richard Roundtree talks about what it's like to be diagnosed with a disease that rarely strikes men.
How did you feel talking about this for the first time?
E.T. breaks news about Mission Impossible 2, how you can become a secret agent just like Tom Cruise. That's Monday.
Welcome back to Entertainment Tonight as we uncover the secrets of NYPD Blue. He's a huge TV star on Friends today. But did you know that David Schwimmer played a lawyer who may have been mixed up in murder during the first year of the series?
In the 7 years NYPD Blue has been on the air, it has seen an almost constant turnover in female co-stars. Nearly every season, another woman walks away from the show.
Now, from Sherry Stringfield in 1994 to Sharon Lawrence to Andrea Thompson this year, we look at why so many women have chosen to leave the series and why one star decided to stay.
NYPD Blue is a very demanding show because we work without a script or a schedule.
That show works as a high-wire act.
You don't have a life. That is your life.
It's very raw. It keeps the work and everybody, it's very raw.
Life behind the scenes of the 15th Precinct is known for grueling long hours and short prep time with intense scripts that are sometimes handed to the actors at the very last minute.
The days are very long, 14, 16-hour days. When you add on top of that, you know, the fact that we don't get scripts or schedules beforehand, it makes it a little more complicated.
Following Following her March announcement that she was leaving NYPD Blue, Andrea Thompson spoke exclusively with ET about her decision to pursue a career as a TV news anchorwoman. She told us the schedule was not the sole reason for her departure, but the single mother who missed her grandmother's funeral and went through 5 nannies in the past year admits it did play a part.
I'm not going to be finding more time to spend with my son by going into broadcast. It's just that I need a change.
You sure we're doing the right thing?
I'm sure.
But the first female to bow out of Blue was Sherry Stringfield, who played David Caruso's ex-wife. Leaving after just 1 season, Stringfield, who is now filming Viva Las Nowhere in Calgary, was unfulfilled with her character's low-profile storyline. Caruso's departure sealed her fate.
She wasn't a cop. She was his ex-wife and an assistant district attorney, so it was, in some ways, kind of a natural progression, I guess.
It's too bad. Yeah. Anyway, thanks a lot.
Another casualty of Caruso was Amy Brenneman. After David's departure, her character was conveniently written off the show. Amy says plainly, quote, "I was fired." E.T. was with the star in 1994 as she was boxing to keep in shape for her character.
David and Dennis have played cops a lot, you know, and I never had. And I in the beginning would say to people, like, did you buy it? Like, did you?
It's my opinion that with proper guidance, this situation can be remedied.
Brenneman now stars on CBS's Judging Amy and goes head-to-head against Blue, which she still refers to fondly.
NYPD Blue's an amazing show, and it's, you know, it's my home, and Dennis Franz is a buddy of mine.
Officer Lemmingham on line 2.
Thanks.
On February 2nd, 1995, during the 2nd season, Gail O'Grady sought a restraining order against an ex-boyfriend who had reportedly been stalking her. She was denied, but professional, not personal reasons caused her to abandon her role as Secretary Donna Abendando.
Because I wanted to go and do other things, and I felt like I had done everything that I could with the character.
When her character became a mother, storylines lacked luster for Sharon Lawrence. The star then asked for a lesser role on the show so she could star in the NBC sitcom Fired Up. The actress also received a 7-figure deal to develop more projects with the network. Today, the 38-year-old is on Broadway preparing to take over a lead role in Chicago.
I know a lot of people miss the character of Sylvia, but to have her dwindle was just as bad.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Only one female has stayed on the force, Emmy winner Kim Delaney.
All these guys, I love it. I mean, I loved it then, I love it now.
Like Thompson, Kim is also a single mom to 10-year-old Jack and juggles home life with the show's demanding schedule. Now engaged to producer Alan Barnett, Delaney says she'd like to remain on the show until the end and admits fortunate circumstances allow her to handle life on the beat.
I also live about 10 minutes from this lot, so I run home whenever we have long breaks, or, you know, Jack can come over here, and, you know, there's a lot of great experiences in this business, but this one is definitely at the top.
Kim is branching out to movies. She co-starred in Mission to Mars. And while she has risen to fame for her role on the show, there is one man who became famous for leaving and failing.
Coming up on Entertainment Tonight's The Secrets of NYPD Blue.
The fights on the set, the excessive demands. David Caruso responds to reports about his tumultuous time on the show.
The reality is that it was reported pretty accurately.
Jimmy Smits, why the cast called him a savior. Rick Schroeder, from Hollywood kid to New York cop. Plus Dennis Franz, his painful past, and how he brought it to Blue.
I could feel my body just shaking involuntarily and, you know, being very frightened.
That's coming up on Entertainment Tonight's The Secrets of NYPD Blue.
Come on, admit it. You love the coverage, but some makeups can dull out your skin. Not new Translucide from L'Oreal Paris, the naturally luminous makeup. It's the end of dull, flat makeup. New Translucide is enriched with healthy vitamin C. It covers evenly, so imperfections blur, shadows dissolve, and we look luminous, healthy, flawless, all day. Nothing dull about that. Get new Translucide from L'Oreal Paris, the naturally luminous makeup, because you're worth it.
Whisk announces the first and only laundry detergent, specially formulated to help reduce wrinkles, so you iron less. New Whisk with Wrinkle Reducer. Do it once, do it right, do it less.
Finally, spring, and guarantees are in full bloom. Now, during Sears Days, hurry in for the season's lowest prices on lots of the best brands going. The only thing limited about this sale is how long it goes on. Sears Days, don't miss them.
My fellow Americans, this is the best concert ever.
Betsy Wilson reporting to you live from...
Awesome party.
Roger, 842. Houston, we've landed on Mars.
Whatever they've imagined doing for almost as long as anyone can remember.
Unbelievable! A new world record!
Girls have known there was a place to find a friend who could show them how. Don't miss the Big Barbie event all month long, only at Toys R Us. The one place that's all for them.
When it comes to keeping up with fashion, it's easy to be let down. Good thing there's Chevy Cavalier. It's stylish, easy-fitting, plus Cavalier's the lowest-priced car with air and anti-lock brakes standard.
Yeah. What's that?
So you can look good without costing you an arm or a pant leg. Yeah. Chevy Cavalier. Depend on it.
Hey, Annie Matthews. What's on your plate today?
Today's gonna be great, but really busy. 10, maybe 15 cuts.
Lunch is here, Annie.
I'll probably grab a quick bite when I can.
Annie, your 2 o'clock's here.
And maybe get heartburn. I used to think Tums if I'd already eaten. Not anymore.
You can take Pepsid AC whenever you need it. Pepsid AC controls heartburn before, during, or even after you eat.
Of course I can take you.
No matter what's on your plate, today should be heartburn-free with Pepsid AC.
This is Entertainment Tonight, and we're uncovering the secrets of NYPD Blue.
While his partners have come and gone, Dennis Franz has remained a constant through NYPD Blue's run.
But the truth is, Dennis almost didn't take the role on the series. Only when he was able to pull from his painful past did he find he was able to become Detective Andy Sipowicz.
I could feel my body just shaking involuntarily. How scared? The most that I can ever recall, ever being frightened.
Hey, look, I don't recall requesting any career counseling session from you.
Dennis Franz may be tough as nails when he's playing Andy Sipowicz, but in real life, he's a man who faced his own mortality in the jungles of Vietnam.
It was an experience that I'm forever grateful for.
Facing the draft in 1968, Dennis instead chose to enlist in officer school, but he soon decided that he was better suited to serve on the front lines as an infantryman instead.
You got down as low as you could when I could hear bullets whizzing over, and you were firing in the direction of where you thought they were coming from in hopes to make it stop. You were just trying to get out of there and wanted to be anywhere else but there at that time. I wouldn't exchange that experience for anything in the world, but it was a very tough time.
In the years since, Dennis has drawn often on the experience. On NYPD Blue, he's displayed that same kind of leadership and earned the respect of his colleagues, past and present.
Dennis is extraordinary in that he's a very gifted actor, and it sounds so cliche, but I really mean it.
Any scene you do with Dennis is going to be fun, and you're going to feel protected.
But some of Dennis's highest praise comes from David Caruso, who admits now he would have been well served to learn from Dennis's leadership abilities.
I had an opportunity to learn from Dennis because he was a seasoned veteran of television. And I look back at the situation now and I think he was right about the way he approached the show. And he prioritized things in that he was able to set a tone and still give a brilliant performance.
That's very generous and nice of David to say that.
Dennis has leadership. Dennis is like calm. Calm. No fluctuations, no desperation, no panic, none of that. And then when the camera goes, he can still do it.
We still have about 25 square feet of our house that doesn't have junk in it.
On the private side, Dennis admits he's nothing like Andy Sipowicz. He is, as E.T. learned a few years back, an ardent flea market enthusiast who described the decor of his home as early swap meet.
It needs to be bent. This is art.
Oh, Dan, I love it.
But he does admit that when it came to prospective suitors for his 2 stepdaughters, he could sometimes revert to character.
I chased one poor little guy, I tell you. I chased him down the street in the car, and he was running in and out of alleys. He was finally I couldn't find him, but I was chasing him.
And last September, before the Emmys, Dennis also showed me his new leaner, meaner look. After his high-protein, no-carb, no-sugar diet resulted in a weight loss of 35 pounds.
It really does work. I have no idea how it works. I don't know what the reasons are, but it doesn't seem logical that it is working because you're eating a high-fat content food.
But as he continues to pile up the Emmys, Golden Globes, and countless other awards, Dennis would be the first to tell you this kid from the streets of Chicago is the luckiest guy in the world.
These last 15, 25 years have just gone by in 10 minutes. And this is something that, no, was not supposed to happen to a guy from Chicago.
When David Caruso quit the show early in the second season, it left producers with a big problem, and Dennis Franz without a partner. Since then, Jimmy Smits and Rick Schroeder have both teamed up with Detective Sipowicz, but in real life, they came to Blue from totally different places.
When I came onto the show, it was kind of like jumping on a fast-moving train, and it was in a lot of respects. But the good thing is, it's just about taking that leap, and once you're on the train, everybody's like, hey!
Me and you, we're not always going to start on the same page.
When 6'3" Jimmy Smits pinned on the NYPD Blue badge during the show's second season, everyone breathed a sigh of relief.
We just looked upon him as our savior.
The transition was so fast because one day David was sitting there and the next day I look up from my desk and there's Jimmy Smits.
It was a calmer place afterwards, and Jimmy Smits, one of the all-time great guys, great actors, great professionals, filled those shoes and made him even bigger.
The witnesses?
Yeah. What few people know is that Jimmy Smits' smooth entrance was complicated by David Caruso's contentious exit. You see, executive producer David Milch wanted Caruso's character killed off at just the right time, but the script kept changing.
It was unclear how many episodes David was going to do, and every time the number of episodes changed, I had to rewrite all of the scripts to accommodate the different story arc, because you want to build to it. Jimmy's character got the hind end in terms of our having had time to conceive him.
What'd the kid do? 11 years old, the mother finds a gun in the drawer.
Whatever went on behind the scenes, Smits turned in impressive performances, earning 5 Emmy nominations. But eventually, the native New Yorker who earned a master's degree in theater found the grind of a series too much. After only 2 seasons, the strain was beginning to show.
I mean, it's good to be on a successful show, but the hour format, the hour dramatic format is really a bit. It's really, it gets to you. We'll do a 14-hour day, and I still have to go home and prep. You know, I still have 4 or 5 hours in front of me to prep for the next day's work. You gave the cop your name and your address? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Finally, after 4 stellar years, Jimmy announced he was leaving.
That's part of Jimmy's makeup. I want to, it's time to just do a little change-up. That's what's happening here right now.
Just as surprising was Jimmy's replacement, Rick Schroeder, the grown-up former star of Silver Spoons.
I got a bunch of people just really, really looking at me. And I feel like I'm under a microscope.
He was coming in as the kid actor, the child star, Silver Spoons, blah, 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 blah. Little Ricky Schroeder, all of that stuff, which was a huge burden for him to overcome.
Howdy, partner.
Schroeder had already started his on-screen maturing with the 1988 miniseries Lonesome Dove. Still, the NYPD Blue cast and crew nicknamed him Junior when he arrived.
Now, since the TV Guide cover and all this praise, it's Mr. Junior.
Yeah.
The audience and critics accepted Rick just as easily. Even David Caruso was impressed by the seamless transition.
It's amazing, the metamorphosis, you know, and how resilient it is as a structure to house all the cast changes and stuff. It's fascinating.
Rick told E.T. that he set his sights on joining the Blue crew 2 years before ever landing the part of Detective Danny Sorensen, and he plans to stay.
And then for 2 years later, for me to be on the cast at NYPD Blue, it's really a dream come true. It really is.
Coming up on Entertainment Tonight, the secrets of NYPD Blue.
Does the show go too far for TV? The cast reveals their feelings about the foul language and the nude scenes.
It was shocking.
His tantrums on the set almost tore apart the series. Now David Caruso reveals his regrets and his reasons for quitting.
I, was not up to it sometimes, and I struggled.
More than 5 years after he left, David tells all.
That's coming up on Entertainment Tonight's The Secrets of NYPD Blue.
1, 2, unbuckle my shoe. 3, 4, add 2 more. Smile. 1, 2, 3, vitamin C, caffeine. 3, 4, 5, 6, easy to fix. Smile on.
What can I put in my creamy cottage cheese to make it taste so good even kids will eat it? I got it! Pineapples!
Breakstone's Cottage Doubles. Available in peach, pineapple, and strawberry, too.
We know local news is important to you. That's why at 9 Eyewitness News, we're committed to bringing you the most news from where you live.
That's why we make local weather a top priority.
It's why we look deeper into local issues.
That's why at 9 Eyewitness News, we're committed to bringing you the most news from where you live.
For everyone who lives here.
After all, no matter how the world affects you, it still affects you right here. 9 Eyewitness News, where local news comes first.
Mattress Discounters guarantees unbeatable prices on top quality brands.
Have a good night's sleep on us. Mattress Discounters.
1, 2, unbuckle my shoe. 3, 4, add 2 more. 5, 6, start to mix. 7, 8, collaborate. 9, 10, start again. Kool-Aid, smile on. 1, 2, 3, vitamin C, caffeine. 3, 4, 5, 6, easy to fix. Take your pick. 7, 8, can't wait. 9, 10, start again. Kool-Aid, smile on.
I love sports, but you gotta know what games are right for you. Same with computer and video games. That's why parents have to make sure each game is right for their kids. How? Check the rating. Every computer and video game has a rating symbol that tells you what age group the game is best for. There's also a content label that tells you what's in the game. When you check the rating, the control is in your hands. See? You gotta play the game that's right for you.
These highly sophisticated food critics are tasting Jell-O gelatin made with juice instead of cold water. The food critics are wowed. It really shakes up your mouth. Ah, sophistication.
Meteorologist Topper Shutt on 9 Eyewitness News, 5 to 7 a.m.
Welcome back to Entertainment Tonight as we uncover the secrets of NYPD Blue. Kathy Bates won a Best Actress Academy Award. But did you know that she's directed episodes of the series, along with Gwyneth Paltrow's brother Jake and Leonard Nimoy's son Adam?
From episode 1, NYPD Blue didn't just push the envelope on primetime TV, it ripped it to shreds. Foul language, partial nudity, and adult situations are a part of life for real New York cops. And this series brought it all to TV, despite the best efforts of the censors.
I usually shower alone. We had nudity and foul language and violence.
And with it all came controversy, criticism, and concern.
Talk about people not watching it because of the butts and the breasts and the this, the that. But once they realized that what the show was about something, it overrode all that controversy and that shock stuff.
But the network censors weren't the only ones who were anxious.
Well, I don't have the greatest rear end in the world.
I worked out more, and I, made sure that I put myself in the right head place.
And the first thing that I would do when I got my script was to quickly flip through it and make sure that my clothes were on, because it was like horrific to me, the thought of doing that.
When the fateful day arrived for Gail O'Grady, she'd hoped that her on-screen love interest, Gordon Clapp, would help her maintain some modesty.
Gordon was my block between the rest of the set, everybody on the set. And so when we would finish the scene and he would stand there and I'm waiting for my robe, he would like space out and walk away.
David Caruso relied on the support of his leading ladies, Amy Brenneman and Sherry Stringfield.
If it would have been a different dynamic, I think there would have been tension. I think if they had been reluctant or concerned or, maybe as fearful as I was, I think it would have been harder. But as a result of the mix of people, I think, you know, we got through it.
Look, I don't want to have this conversation every time you get horny. It's not going to work out for us. I mean, you're just there to tell the story, and it's, I mean, everyone there is very talented, and they respect each other, I think. I hope. That's what I thought.
I really trusted them, and so my nerves were my own. You know, ultimately, I knew that it would be okay.
At first, when Sharon Lawrence found out it was her turn to bear all, she panicked.
But then I remembered and recognized that Sylvia and Andy were not the fantasy couple. And I didn't have to be anything other than what I, as Sylvia, was. And I was proud and honored to be used in that way. It was shocking, but people love those characters. And because they loved Andy and Sylvia, they were embracing what we were doing rather than snickering or giggling at it in a salacious way.
Dennis Franz had already had some experience in this department.
When I had to bear my butt, it wasn't particularly titillating, but it was meant to be comic. And I think it was treated as such, and I thought it was great that they showed somebody who, you know, has got an average-looking butt and, you know, not somebody that you're used to seeing with their clothes off too often.
And the producers were always very respectful of any actors required to do a nude scene.
It was always a closed set. We always knew that none of those clips or scenes would be used as clips to sensationalize the show. We were very well protected.
But Sylvia and Andy's relationship hadn't begun in bed.
Ipsodis, you pissy little
Ipsodis, you pissy little words to live by. If that doesn't strike up a romance, I don't know what does. From that moment on, that was love at first sight.
Nudity wasn't the only way NYPD Blue was on the cutting edge. The language was raw.
We felt very strongly that it was sort of legitimate in the context of a cop show.
Even the N-word was not off limits, bringing racial prejudice to the forefront.
We throw out all the possibilities on the table, and we just deal with them one at a time as best we can, and maybe in the future we'll go deeper and deeper.
And after 7 seasons, Bochco still has the same answer for those who object to the show's content.
We then felt and continue to feel that if it is offensive to you, turn it off. Don't watch it.
Bochco added that he understands objections to NYPD Blue nudity during the strip club scenes. He told us he could see how they might be seen as too blue.
Coming up on Entertainment Tonight, the secrets of NYPD Blue.
David Caruso comes clean about the fear he faced on the series.
That fear propelled me into a sort of panic, and that panic made other people's lives difficult.
A rare and candid interview about why he quit as David sits down to talk about failing his former co-stars. And they tell us how they feel about David's departure today.
He rubbed people the wrong way sometimes.
That's next on The Secrets of NYPD Blue.
Which flirting with disaster star was born in the same city as NYPD Blue star Dennis Franz? Is it Ben Stiller, Patricia Arquette, or Téa Leoni? Your answer's next in the ET Weekend Birthdays.
Closed captioning provided by...
Everyone I know is on AOL. We're all on AOL. We have this kinship. There's something special about it, as corny as that might sound. AOL brings the world to you.
America Online. Sign up today.
Women hold up half the sky, at least. That takes energy, and new Viactive's got it to go. Juicy spritzers, fruit smoothies, chocolate lovers bars. With the nutrients a woman's body craves. Bone-building calcium, B vitamins for our hearts, antioxidants. Viactive Calcium Chews, now Viactive Snacks and Beverages. For women who do it all, energy to appreciate it all.
In the dream, you are moving toward a horizon. And when you arrive there, you find wondrous things. Where the dream meets reality is just on the horizon. Introducing Horizons by Ethan Allen. The sale ends this weekend.
2000 Seville STS. More than just a pretty face. Enhanced with StabiliTrack 2.0, it handles superbly on dry roads, wet roads, and outperforms BMW, Lexus, and Mercedes-Benz on ice. Seville STS, sleek styling and powerful control. The power and the fusion of design and technology. Cadillac.
Send your phone company a message. Join us at phonefree.com, and calling long distance will be totally free. And you know something? So will you. Phonefree.com. Let freedom ring.
Go away.
Come on, we're gonna be late.
Saturday.
Dum, dum, da-dum.
Tom's wedding.
Here, hon. Have some breakfast. Kellogg's Nutri-Grain Bars.
Low fat, no preservatives. We're not that late, are we?
Great soft baked crust and real fruit filling.
I'd eat this even if I wasn't late.
And when would that be? Kellogg's Nutri-Grain Bars. Good food to go.
Finally, spring, and guarantees are in full bloom. Now, during Sears Days, hurry in for the season's lowest prices on lots of the best brands going. The only thing limited about this sale is how long it goes on. Sears Days, don't miss them.
Celebrating an E.T. birthday on Saturday, which flirting with disaster star was born in the same city as NYPD Blue star Dennis Franz? That's Chicago's own Patricia Arquette. She turns 32. Robin Wright Penn is 34. John Schneider is 40. And Shecky Green celebrates 74.
And having an E.T. star-style birthday on Sunday, Keisha Knight Pulliam turns 21. Dennis Quaid is 46. And Michael Learned is 61.
It was a dream job for any actor. A part on a major primetime series working with one of TV's most accomplished producers. But that dream turned into a nightmare for David Caruso. And now, in a rare, in-depth interview about his departure from NYPD Blue, David reveals what went horribly wrong.
I mean, it's hard to admit that you didn't have the tools to face a great situation and that you dropped the ball on some pretty special people.
Few actors are given the kind of opportunity David Caruso was given when he was cast to star in NYPD Blue as Detective John Kelly. Fewer still would admit that they blew the chance of a lifetime.
You know, when you're a guy that people are looking to maybe to set a tone and stuff like that, I you know, was not up to it sometimes. And I struggled.
I think we should call it quits. Meaning what? Meaning us being partners.
As the brooding and sensitive up from the streets detective, Caruso seemed a perfect fit, given his own New York Irish upbringing. But the show's creators were split over hiring him, with Stephen Bochco for and David Milch against.
And because I'm so sensitive to David, I said, too bad, I'm going to hire him anyway. Because I said, I think he's a star. And we were both right. He was a star, and he was very difficult.
He seemed to require a kind of destabilization of his environment in order to find a stability for himself as a performer.
Alphonse Giardella set him up. Alphonse Giardella shot him. There are no other suspects.
By all accounts, the environment bordered on being unbearable. It was reported that Caruso was prone to throwing tantrums, demanded excessive takes, and berated those around him.
I've tried to, in my own mind, rationalize my behavior surrounding that, but the reality is that it was reported pretty accurately.
David is a real dedicated actor, and he works very, very, very hard.
You know, he was like real hard on himself. He was so hard on himself that, you know, he took it out on other people.
There really isn't time or money to be as much of a perfectionist as David wants to be. And when he doesn't have the time to do it correctly, it becomes very frustrating for him.
Tensions ran so high that first season that David Milch suffered physically.
I developed heart problems in the course of the first season, and had several procedures, and obviously 40 years of different kinds of stupid behavior probably had more to do with that than any difficulties on the set. But that was clearly an exacerbant.
I've had some hard years in television with difficult actors. You know. That was the hardest year I think we'd ever had, ever.
I'm screwed. Hey, not off the statement I'm going to give him.
Caruso admits his behavior was the result of not being ready to handle such a high-profile starring role.
There's an expectation on a show of that quality to be at that level all the time, and there are times where I was pretty hard on myself because I didn't want to fail them. And in my own way, I was trying to honor the opportunity with not shrinking from the challenge or letting down on the material.
So he rubbed people the wrong way sometimes, but I think he realizes that.
I was filled with fear that I couldn't live up to it every day. I couldn't meet the challenge of the quality level that we were at. And so that fear propelled me into a sort of panic, and that panic made other people's lives difficult.
By the end of the first season, there was talk that Caruso wanted out of his contract in order to pursue movie roles. But that wasn't all.
At the beginning of the second season, David made additional demands that really weren't, that just wasn't practical.
Demands like a reported threefold salary increase. For producers, enough was enough. And after 4 episodes into the second season, David was written out of the show.
The great relief of that period for me was when the show not only survived my departure, but was even more popular and more successful. And that was a huge relief for me, because I certainly didn't want to ever hurt the show, a show that had given me many opportunities. I just failed.
I want the jewels.
Caruso's life after NYPD Blue has had its share of ups and downs. He weathered a string of big-screen box office flops, was named in a $4 million palimony suit by former girlfriend Paris Papiro, and even gave TV another try in 1997 with the short-lived series Michael Hayes.
I'm in an interesting place in that people know who I am, and to some degree they like my work. But I'm a little bit of an enigma. You know, they're like, I'm not sure where this guy belongs, and to tell you the truth, I don't know either. You know, so I don't know. I think more will be revealed.
With a movie for TNT called Deadlock just completed, David is now working on a feature film with Russell Crowe and Meg Ryan. He describes himself as not only older and wiser, but greatly humbled by the twists and turns in his career.
It's not like I certainly regret, because I got to participate in some of the best footage ever, but if I could do it again, I would do it differently.
David says he is still a big fan of NYPD Blue.
In fact, he still tries to keep up with the show when he can. And we'll be right back.
Over here.
Good morning, everybody.
Oh, hi. Excuse me, kids. Hi, you wear glasses?
Yes.
Yeah, you get the lowest price in sight?
$2.50.
Oh, was that the last kid?
Yeah.
Come with me. See, at America's Best, you get 2 complete pairs of glasses. I'm talking frames and lenses for only $59.99. And that includes a complete doctor's eye exam.
And 2 pairs.
Hey, this is America's Best. Now she's really going to stop traffic. Call 1-800-2-PAIR to discover the lowest price in sight. Now open in Forestville at a Penmar shopping center.
The team that makes you an eyewitness to news you can trust unveils a new way to see even more news first and faster. Introducing the expanded Live 9 network. A fleet of remote cameras positioned across the area, adding new views from Arlington, Prince George's County, D.C., the airports, and more. Live cameras searching to help you see news, weather, and traffic as it unfolds. The Live 9 network, only on 9 Eyewitness News, where local news comes first.
Summer is a game played in teams. And when the taste of ripe berries joins good old-fashioned lemonade, it's something to cheer about. Raspberry lemonade from Country Time, the official sponsor of summer.
What can I put in my creamy cottage cheese to make it taste so good even kids will eat it? I got it. Pineapple.
Breakstone's Cottage Doubles. Available in peach, pineapple, and strawberry, too.
At 9 Eyewitness Weather, we know that the weather in Frederick may not be the same as what's happening in Fredericksburg. That's why we're the only station to give you zone weather coverage. With our zone forecast, we can show what's happening in 6 different areas, from Chambersburg to Colonial Beach. Pinpoint forecast, so you know what conditions will be like in your neighborhood.
Zone weather from Channel 9's First Warning Weather Team.
It's clearer and closer.
And it's only on 9 Eyewitness News, where local news comes first.
They say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Thanks to rich and creamy Jell-O instant pudding, you can get to it in just 5 minutes. Of course, it's a rather well-known saying.
Hi. Hi.
You want a homemade snack in 5 minutes? I can go for something Jell-O.
This remarkable moment brought to you by your family. Isn't it about time? From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Try Extra Strength Bear PM, the only nighttime pain reliever that contains aspirin and gently helps you sleep. Bear, powerful pain relief and so much more.
Take a spin down memory lane and enjoy the timeless taste of White Castle hamburgers. In less time, anytime.
His first family album touched the hearts of millions. Now the magic is back. Kenny Loggins, more songs from Pooh Corner, featuring Your Heart Will Lead You Home. Bring it home and share the magic today.
Monday on Entertainment Tonight, the Kathy Lee interview. What she said about her son Cody suing a tabloid for libel.
I think about it and I get emotional to this day.
The original Shaft reveals his battle with cancer.
Breast cancer.
Plus, E.T. breaks news about Mission Impossible 2 and how you can become a secret agent just like Tom Cruise. That's Monday.
Executive producer Stephen Bochco says that if the people behind NYPD Blue don't lose their heart, then the show can go on for 5 more years and still be successful.
We leave you now with a preview of next weekend's Entertainment Tonight, The Secrets of Happy Days, with one of Ron Howard's most extensive interviews ever about his time on the show. Goodbye, everybody.
So long.
They also wanted to change the name of the show to Fonzie's Happy Days. And when I heard that, my heart did sink. It was, you know, I really thought, wow, it's one thing if a character, you know, just sort of organically, creatively grows because of this sort of inspiration. But I probably wouldn't have signed on to do a show called Fonzie's Happy Days, to play Richie on a show called Fonzie's Happy Days. And really my just kind of ego and pride kicked in.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy
I probably am one of the luckiest men that I was older and playing this teenager and that it happened to me then. Because I don't know what would have happened to me if I was younger, you know, with all this stuff going down.
There was a real playful atmosphere. I mean, we were doing just the most juvenile things, you know, like putting tape on the back of each other's, you know, sweaters and taping funny signs on the back of the director, Jerry Paris, or having spitball fights in the middle of rehearsal. And you know, it was just always this close to anarchy. We'll take a good talk.
This day is all. Won't you be mine? This day is all.
I watched E.T. for what you didn't know about Happy Days.
Happy days.
Entertainment Tonight. Always there.